Welcome to Front Porch Forecast. Today is Friday, July 18th. Now we finally made it to the weekend. Let's hope our weather cooperates with us. For this afternoon, if you're in the Central Plains to Midwest area, the Mid-Atlantic to the Northeast area, you do have a slight risk for strong to severe storms as we go later into the afternoon. Now let's go ahead and look at tomorrow's risk here. We have most of Ohio Valley, along with a little bit of the Midwest, that also has a slight risk for strong to severe storms as well. If you're in Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, if you're in Michigan, all of those states are going to have these opportunities for these strong storms to be pushing through the area for tomorrow. Now, I did want to point out we have some drought conditions in the Central Plains and over to the West Coast as well. Now, this is nothing new. We experience this almost every year over in these areas, all these dry conditions. But I did want to point out for Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, you do have some exceptional drought conditions at the moment. Be sure to listen to your local authorities, pay attention to burn bans, and this can minimize the effects or the possibilities for a wildfire as well. Now, if you're in Idaho and Montana, you are experiencing extreme drought. On top of that, with Nevada and Colorado as well. So be sure to pay attention, make sure you are extinguishing your fires appropriately to reduce the chances for wildfires in these areas, okay? Now let's go ahead and get into the brunt of the storms for this afternoon, leading into tomorrow morning as well. This right here is starting out some of the rain in Minnesota. It's going to be around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. if you're in the southern half of Minnesota. And it starts to kind of increase the later on we go into the afternoon. This is around 7 p.m., 6 p.m. We're going to get a little bit stronger in our storms in Minnesota. Overnight, around 10 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., it's going to start to move into Iowa and Wisconsin as we move into Saturday morning. Now this right here is 7 a.m., 8 a.m., right as you're waking up, trying to figure out your plans for the day. If you're in central Iowa, southern part of Wisconsin, even a little bit of Indiana, you're going to have some strong storms popping up around in your area as it moves through. We do have a cold front that is kind of pushing through and some low-level moisture, and that's causing the instability in the atmosphere, which is causing some of these storms to be on the stronger side, and that is why you have the potential for a spin-up tornado. You have the potential for large hail, lightning, strong winds. So keep an eye out as you navigate throughout your weekend. Now this is Saturday afternoon. We're getting into 1 p.m., 2 p.m. It's going to start traveling into Illinois. And then we're going to make our way into Michigan a little bit as it starts pushing out of the Midwest, more into the Ohio Valley over there in Ohio and Kentucky and Indiana. This is Saturday night into Sunday morning. So kind of a rainy weekend for us as well. Last weekend, we had all the rain in this area in Iowa and Indiana. Some of those were strong as well. So we're having another wet weekend in isolated areas with these strong storms there. Now let's take a look over at the Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, kind of towards the East Coast. This right here is going to be at 1 p.m. on Friday. So we're going back to this afternoon, and we're going to look to see when the storms start over there. So West Virginia, a little bit of North Carolina. We have some disorganized storms. They're kind of scattered throughout, isolated. Nothing's too organized just yet as we're going into Friday night, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. We're kind of going into Saturday morning. Now, Virginia, you're going to get some strong storms overnight around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. at the northern tip of Virginia as it moves closer into Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, all the way to the East Coast there. Now, this right here is going to be Saturday morning. We start out in West Virginia again. Kind of those storms in Indiana we saw on the last slides as it moves into closer to the East Coast. It's starting to organize. This is early afternoon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., Kentucky, Tennessee. You see it's kind of getting a linear track there as it's moving towards the East Coast into West Virginia and Virginia. And then we see into Saturday night, Sunday morning, it starts to move out. Now, you do have the chance for severe storms as well. You have had a lot of rain the last few weeks as well. These two areas that I'm talking about today have been impacted by so many storms. You have a high chance of flooding in Virginia, North Carolina, West Virginia. So please be weather aware. Turn around, don't drown. Be sure to listen to your local authorities and keep an eye out on when roadways are closed, when creeks are starting to increase their height. Just keep an eye out because this area has been hit with a lot of rain, and flooding is definitely possible with all these rains over the weekend, okay? Now, with all these severe storms coming through, be sure that you know what to do in each situation. If there's a tornado, be sure to know where in the house is safe. If you're in a mobile home or in a vehicle, try to find shelter. Be sure to stay indoors if there is any severe hail happening. Hail coming out of the clouds really quickly can be dangerous if it hits you. So especially if it's large hail. Now, you got to move indoors and stay away from the windows as well because it could be shattering windows and be dangerous. Now, lightning, you always want to stay indoors. Check your local weather to make sure you know what the weather report is before you go out on any lakes. I know the weekends are made for hanging out in the summertime on the lake, going swimming. Be sure to stay indoors. Lightning can strike up to 10 miles away from a storm. So even if the storm is 10 miles away from you, it still can strike near you. So be safe with that. Heavy winds, you also want to be indoors. You just want to be protected from the elements here. Wind can pick up small things and they become trajectories. So just be very careful with wind. Now, flooding, we have been experiencing a lot of flooding. Please know, take action, move to higher ground if you know that your area is in a floodplain and you have some strong storms coming through. Just have a plan for any of these severe weather attributes or hazards. Thanks for joining in today. If you enjoy the content, want to know what your area's weather is going to be like, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the little bell so you can get notified in our weather update videos. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next forecast.